All right, good morning, everybody, and good to join you on this wonderful Wednesday. And hopefully, you are doing well today. Hopefully, you had a great day yesterday. It was a beautiful day yesterday, and hopefully, you were able to get out and enjoy some of that sunshine, some of that beautiful weather there. We are on a little bit earlier than we normally would be, and so for many of you, you might missed the live version. I apologize for that. Got a little something going here this morning, so I had to jump on a little bit earlier than I'd said yesterday, and so for that, I apologize. Okay, but hit the share button no matter what time of day you're watching this, and excited to be with you this morning. All right, here we go. Let's look. Let's turn our Bibles to Jeremiah chapter number 29. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 29. And our verse for the day, Jeremiah 29 and verse number 11. Jeremiah 29:11 says this. It says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." Okay? Jeremiah 29, verse number 11 is an incredible verse. It speaks of really what God thinks of us, desires of us, and I want you to get what's said here at the beginning. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you. Okay, and what are those thoughts? We see right in the middle of that verse, thoughts of peace. And you might be watching, you might think, peace. Man, my life seems like a bit of chaos, you might be thinking. Or, man, I've got this difficulty, this challenge, this heartache in my life. And here in Jeremiah says that he has thoughts of peace for us. Yes. Yes, he does. You look at nearly every individual in the Bible, and you will see that God has these thoughts of peace for each individual, but that does not mean that they are going to be on easy street as they live their life. Think of somebody like Daniel. Daniel, lion's den, purpose in his heart. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fiery furnace. You consider those men and the challenges that they had. Think of Joseph and just the many difficulties he had, being sold as a slave, being falsely accused, being thrown into prison, mistreated by his brothers. How could somebody say that God has thoughts of peace for somebody like Joseph, somebody like Daniel? And the list goes on some of these individuals. And then, obviously, you also have other individuals in the Bible. Yes, they brought upon certain circumstances upon themselves. But I want you to get what's being said here. God has these thoughts of peace for you, for me, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be a cakewalk. Look how this verse ends, okay? Jeremiah 29, verse number 11. "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace." And then get this, "and not of evil." Okay? God does not have these thoughts of evil, these plans of evil in our life. Sometimes those what we perceive as being evil or troublesome, sometimes, as I said, those we bring upon ourselves by our poor decision making and so on. And then these perceived thoughts of evil. I already gave you a couple of examples of some individuals, Joseph, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. You think of maybe even the Apostle Paul, and the list goes on. But here it is at the end of verse number 11. Ready? Look what it says. "To give you an expected end." To give you an expected end. God knows the future. And that expected end would be a hope. You look at the life of Joseph, the thoughts of peace, how could they even be there? But God had a bigger plan in play. And even Joseph realized it. when he says, God meant it for good, some of that difficulty. That's that expected end. And if Joseph doesn't go through what he goes through earlier on in his life, he does not get that expected end. Daniel just, as we read the book of Daniel, just wanted to do right. And what do we find? Thrown in the lion's den. And all of that. Doesn't make sense. God, what are you doing? Maybe. No, God's got a plan. He's got a purpose. There's peace in living God's will for your life. And what was that expected end? God had a plan. Even though he was in the midst of the lion's den, God had a plan for him. I think of Esther and how God used Esther to save her people. But man, she had some challenges along the way. Some sleepless nights, I'm sure, along the way. But God had an expected end. And God has that same for you and for me, that expected end, that hope for the future. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know and understand the reason for some of the trials that I've gone through just yet. I don't know and understand some of the trials that maybe you've gone through. But there is an expected end. There is a hope for the future. And God is growing you, molding you, and changing you for that expected end. And the things that we experience in this life, although at times may be difficult and might appear crazy, just note there's an expected end. And God knows his thoughts that he thinks toward you. And God knows the future. So don't lose sight of the fact. Don't lose sight of the fact that God knows the future. Continue to trust him in the moment. Don't turn your back on him. Don't leave him because something gets difficult, but rather hold on to him knowing that he has an expected end. An example might be this. I've taken the family on some long road trips. We were in California. We would take a long road trip and come visit family back in Michigan. And now that we're in Michigan, we take a road trip to Florida to see Ingrid, my wife's family. And the road trip, although it might be long, there is an expected end. The reward at the end is family, peace, hanging out, all of that kind of stuff. But there's that journey that leads up to it. And sometimes that journey is long. Sometimes it can be challenging. And sometimes we even get lost along the way. But know that there is an expected end. There is a hope that, you know what? Man, we're 20 hours into this. It's going to come to an end. And the same is true with trials in our lives. There's that hope that we ought to have for the future, that expected end. And note that God will bring us through that and we'll come out better if we will but trust him. Our verse for the day, Jeremiah 29 and verse number 11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Hey, let's hope in Jesus. All right. Thank you all so much for being on today. As I said, I know we're on just a little bit earlier than normal, but thank you all so much for jumping on. Karen, good morning to you. Dennis and Geraldine, good morning to you both. Hope that you guys have a great day. Tom, good morning to you as well. David and Claudia, good morning. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Ingrid, thank you for being on today. Love you. Hope you have a great day as well. Charlie and Marcia, good morning to you both. And Brian and Cindy, good morning to you both as well. Hit the share button if you haven't already done so. Trust that our time together has been a blessing. And let's look forward to that expected end that God has for us. Have a great day, everybody. Don't forget, we'll have services tonight at 6 o'clock. Hope to see you then.